Hi everybody, Jeremy here from Flatware Creations. I am going to be making a spring bracelet that is it's also going to be a whale tail or mermaid tail. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Let me wait for somebody. Let me see if make sure the chat's working here. Actually, while I'm doing that, I will let you guys see this. Wasn't that fun? If you like this video and the other videos I do, please leave a like, comment. I always appreciate the comments, and like this comment, it's creating this video today. So let's see. All right, so everything looks to be going good there. Those numbers are good. That's good. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I am going to be using today. I'm going to do a couple of different things here. Focus. Are you going to be mean to me today? Please don't. There, get rid of that, and we'll do this. So these are stencils. They have two different sets. This is the one I got so that I could make this easier. I made my own stencils before, but these were just cooler and easier to use. We're going to be using these to draw the design on the tablespoons. It took me forever to find tablespoons today. I don't know why. I could find serving spoons all day. I think I have hundreds of those, but I wanted 3 with nice patterns, or at least decent patterns. So this is what we got. I'm not sure which one I'm using yet. One of these I think might break, but it is really thick, so I'm not sure. The other things that we're going to be using are my jeweler's saw. The blades I'm using are cheap Walmart blades, but I'm pretty sure I always leave the vial out of the blades. I'm pretty sure these are actually it's a 1. I want a can I do it with a 1? Or normally I would use a 3/0. There's a 3/0. It allows me to turn corners better. I only have 1 sharp turn though. Let's see. I'm gonna put this out. So if we can't make that sharp turn, we'll switch blades out. I'm gonna use the homemade bench pin. Sorry, you're over there. This just goes into my vise here. Pull that out. So this is what I'm going to be tapping. Not tapping. This is what I'm going to be sawing on. I have everything, just nothing lined up yet. This is where I'm going to be sawing on this. They make bench pins that go in front of you. This is all I could afford at the time, and then 3 or 4 years later, I'm still using it. So, sticking with it. Next, obviously we have our spoons. Bring you back up here. I need a cameraman. Okay, there we go. Tablespoons. And we're gonna need these springs. It's not really a spring. It's more of a coil. Come on. There we go. Except this one is an old one. When we first started making them, see how small that interior diameter is? Since this was off of a throttle cable, so the wire ran through the middle of this, we are going to upgrade to one of these, a drain auger. That's going to allow us to have a bigger inner opening, so we don't have to grind down so far on the pins on these, and it will really make it hold, and it'll be more robust. So I got this on clearance at Lowe's for like $4. Amazon, I don't have a link for them down in the description. I do have Flatwareable's website down in the description. We're going to need a ruler because this piece needs to be 1 inch. Pretty sure it's 1 inch. Yep, 1 inch. We're using some rosin core electrical lead-free solder. That's how we're going to be attaching the spring to the bracelet halves. We'll need one little torch. The blades. I am going to be taking and texturing these. If you guys are on and can, hop on the chat and say hi. We're going to be using the ball peen hammer, and I'm going to be basically tapping on it to make scales. Those just always look so much better. It's not necessary, but if you're going to make a whale tail, why not? Okay, so that I have a couple of different clamps here to hold the pieces together, because we need to hold one piece while we solder it in, and then we'll flip it around and hold it again as we solder the other side. This video I made in 2020 February, so almost 4 years ago since I've made one of these. Okay, we got solder, we got those. A file, if you don't have a rotary tool, you can use a file for this. It takes a little bit longer, and I'll show you a little bit of how to do that, because you don't need all of these crazy tools to be able to do this. Okay. Hi, Bern. So I think I really want to try this guy here, but I'm not sure about that join right here at the flower. Sometimes these will break right in here, right there. So let's play it safe, and we'll go with this guy. So first we're going to take this over and we're going to flatten it here. See if this guy wants to cooperate. Okay. So these are just stainless steel. This was actually a piece of scrap from one of the machinists up here. So we're just going to flatten this out. So I like to go down and make a dimple, and then I move my piece to the front, and then I go down from there. That normally gets most of those ripples gone. The ripples don't matter for us anyways because we're texturing, but if you weren't texturing, you don't want a bunch of ripples in here. So that part is done. Let's move over to here, if it's going to stay. There we go. Sorry about that. So first we're going to get this guy all tapped out, and then we're going to cut it, and then we're going to measure where we need to cut and also how long of a stem we need to be able to put this in the spring. Okay, so I'm going to close that. I'm going to turn this. I'm going to put on some music for you guys because I've noticed that it just cuts out. The volume does whenever it gets too loud. So here's some music for you. I'm going to start tapping on this. I've taken my ball peen hammer and I've rounded it off to get me a nice little point that I like. You kind of see the point there. It's not super sharp. It does the job though. So I'm also starting up here at the back, and I'm going to work my way about halfway down because we're going to cut off half of this. So I'm going to start here and then just go across. Music. There we go. Hi, Tim. Yep. That's awesome. All right, here's the music. I don't know if you can hear over the music or not, but as I'm tapping, it's not really hard. It's just enough to make that little dimple. So we're just making those little dimples. It doesn't have to be really deep. And music. I'm choked up about halfway on the hammer. And I'm using the glare from the light to see where my hits are going. Little extra step really helps these to settle, and it gives them a lot of character. So we're about halfway down. I'm keeping pressure on the spot where I'm hitting. I don't want to be fighting with this and having a fight with it. So wherever you're hitting straight down, you should get no repercussions in your hand. And as you move forward, it's just going to start bending. So, and we're going to go down just a little bit further. And I'm using the glare to see empty spots that I missed. If that's the case, the points go down. I don't think I'm going to go that far. All right, now I'm going to flip it over. So now we've got it all dimpled. Okay, that's... I like this camera, but I think I have to take it apart again and adjust it. Come on. There we go. So now it's just dimpled. If you notice in the glare, I'm trying to move it and it's trying to click. Okay. If you notice in the glare, you can kind of see the spots that don't have the dimples. What I've noticed is if you just kind of go back over those a little bit, it will, just a couple of taps, you'll be able to get those worked out real quick. So let me bring you down here with this camera and I'll show you the stencil. So we have the stencils from Flatware. So we have more of the whale tails here, and then more of the fancy fish tails here. And a lot of these go similar style. Just one's bigger than the other, so you can use it for tablespoons or teaspoons. I've used this little tiny guy here before. That was cute. So we're going to stick with the whale tail / mermaid tails. Find one that really fits. And because it's a bracelet too, we don't want something really sharp. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. So I've got the center going up the center of the template, and I'm using the guides here, these little points. I'm trying to get those points to line up on the spoon. And where they come to a point, that's where I'm going to stick, and I'm going to draw my line from right there. So point, point, making sure this is straight. Sorry, I like to use the Sharpies. They're fine tip. They don't really come off. The marker doesn't really come off. So we got our whale tail. And up here on these corners, I'm going to kind of leave these here until we get closer to seeing the actual shape, because sometimes these up here are perfectly fine. We've got that done. Put in our block. And I'm going to bring it up here with this guy. So I'm going to work on the camera setup. Okay, so let's go here. And let's zoom it in. Hi, Juan. Okay. All right, so you can see the pattern. Grab my saw. I'm pretty sure this is a size 1 blade. I also use beeswax as a lubricant for the saw blade. You can use candle wax, you can use all kinds of things. Put on my glasses here. Hey, I can see. Right, so one of the things I've learned is that if you, the line that you're wanting to start with, so I'm wanting to start right there. If I put my blade against this edge and I put that starting point, I can kind of use the blade. Sorry, is the music too much? Too loud? Well, we're gonna need to get for this part anyways. So we'll try and cut through this real quick. Once I get it going, I take it off and I'll keep that in the middle. And you can kind of tell by listening to it the sound of the blade whenever it starts to be clogged up and not cutting very well. What happened to my music? That's loud. So this is normally where the turn is, up here, where it comes up to a point. This one's not so bad, but some of them get really bad, so it stopped really cutting for me. If you try and fight through the blade, you're gonna break it. So it's better to just give it some wax or some lube. And we're gonna go through after this and we're gonna clean all of this up so you won't see any of the saw marks or anything. Ouch. came off my line. We'll fix that with the Dremel. All right, so this part I always put right in the corner, because if your finger's here, you're gonna slice right into your finger. So right at the end of the cut, I'll put it right in that corner so as it goes through. It really has nowhere to go. So you're not gonna cut yourself, which is what we want. And you see all of the dimpling, we cut off most of that. But if you don't go down far enough, it's a little bit of a pain to do it later on, and this way it's all even all the way across the board. So I'm going to turn on this guy, and I'm going to take off these lines here, and we'll see what it looks like. Let's take off those top edges. I don't normally do that. So I'm just going to basically retrace the line, except I'm going to turn it to make that edge kind of rounded. Bring this one back down a little bit further. Okay, so here's what I got. And remember, we can take and clean this all up after we get all this cut out. We can change the shape with the grinders. All right, so I'm going to start here. Bring it to that side. Started. And we're off. Oh, here's one of the troubles with this. So right now, I can't turn left. So I got to go in here and start my cut, because this way I can turn it. I can turn my saw around the corner and go to the outside. If it's on the inside, I can basically just make a straight line, if that makes any sense. Let me switch over. So on this side, this is what I'm talking about. So I started my cut there, but because it's right near the edge, I can't turn it. So I'm going to put my blade on this side and my handle on the opposite side. So we'll get this cut out, and then we'll use our Dremel tool to smooth everything out, do all the cleanup work. So this is a thicker part of the spoon, so it takes a little bit more to get through it. This is a size 1 blade. Normally I'll use a 3/0 blade for the tight turns there in the middle, but this one was good, so I didn't need to go downsize. As for the blades, these are just cheap eBay blades. I think I got like 50 of them in each size. The only ones that I have good blades or decent blades for is my 8/0 for my really fine work. I don't know what I'm going to do whenever I get a real bench pen and I have to cut it straight in front of me. It's going to be weird. That right to the end, nice and soft. There we go. It looks really crazy right now. So this one, ouch. Let's start here. Doesn't look even. This is the hard part, getting those started and then getting your angle right so you don't pop blades. Get some more wax. Every piece of silverware is different. With the base metals, some are harder than others, some are thicker, some cut through, just like sterling. That stuff cuts fast. Sometimes too fast, especially after doing this a bunch. Almost there. Yeah, I was surprised. I went and looked up the video because I forgot how long to make the springs. I thought it was 1 inch, but I went back and I watched the first part of the video and yeah, it was 1 inch. Yeah, and I'll show you how I cut that. And I remember how to do it. I didn't watch the whole video though, but that was one that I edited down. I think it's only like 15 minutes if you look up spring bracelet. Come on, we're almost there. I don't have my paint brushes, but I normally use those to wipe away the shavings. Last little bit. Almost there. Like, come on. Alright, so we're done with that. So we're gonna take and make this thing shaped nicer. Okay, so I can work in here. I get the autofocus shut off. So I'm using a drum here. It's the same size. Yeah. So it's a medium grit. I'm gonna go around and get all of these saw marks out of here. Let me show you that. So you can kind of see the saw marks. Yeah, we're gonna make those nice and smooth. When you're doing this, I would recommend wearing your respirator. I use this one. It's almost dead. It's got the interchangeable filters, and it has another heavier duty one on the inside. But I'm going to keep talking, so we'll get through this. Okay, here we go. I have no power. What's up? Where'd my power go? Technical difficulties. Go. Whew, that was close. Okay. It scared me for a second. So again, I'm going to use the glare to be able to take all these marks out. Easy tip so you don't dig holes in it is if you hold your bit kind of slanted. Oh, okay. So instead of being straight like this, hold it at an angle. So as you go across it, you're not digging down, you're smoothing out around it. Switch cameras. And I'm just pushing just enough to get the marks out. So after we get it smooth, then we'll go over the edges real soft. Take off any burrs that are on there. That looks pretty good. Take off your points. There we go. We don't want any sharp spots, especially because it's going on as a bracelet. So as we're going through this, just watching those lines, and as soon as they get off of there, move to another spot. It's so easy to over grind these. And of course we can't get down here in the thin spot, so we're going to use the diamond bit for that. So I try and get it as close as I can. Just change the angle a little bit. So as you're sawing, sometimes you have to, your angle changes. And that's how a lot of times you'll break your bits, or you'll break your blades, just from a little off that. That, and this one has more of a hump on this side, so I'm going to take that hump right out, and I'm going to do it at an angle like this instead of coming down. I'm going to go at an angle and just use it to take that curve out of there, or that sharp corner, just so I can blend it down. Come on. Put a little grittier sanding bit. Kind of hog some metal off of there. Oh. And even these up a little bit. That's a lot better. I'll take that. So we'll put on a finer bit, or a finer drum, and get those big lines out there. Again, I'm using the glare so I can see the lines. If you pay attention to these little details, it will really help when you're designing later on. People really like taking They're having something that's really clean looking as opposed to something that's rushed. So it's always worth it to take that couple of extra minutes, not hours. Hours is bad OCD. Sometimes I'm that way. Alright, let's change this over to a diamond bit. So I'm just using a little diamond burr. Not burr, just a little diamond. Make sure that it fits down. Make sure that it fits down in the middle here. Gonna go in and just barely go up the sides at all. If the sides are nice and smooth, we're just trying to take out those saw marks. Get an edge there. Get our little edge there. Rub your fingers across it. Nothing sharp. Sweet. Okay, let me zoom you up here. We're going to come over here to that wheel. So this is a fiber wheel, and this is on there to keep it in place. I'm just going to take and go over the edges just right here. That's it, and then we'll be done with this. Again, when using these, always make sure you're wearing some sort of breathing protection. Right now I'm going to hold my breath because we're only going to be here a minute. Nice and smooth. All right, so now the next part. So everybody laughs at me when I tell them, let's see, switch cameras. Everybody laughs at me whenever I say I don't math good, because I make so much stuff and I have to do math for it, but I don't like doing math. So Flatwareables also makes the stencils to measure out how long the bracelet is going to be. So we could just put that in there, mark it right here if we want like a size 7 or a size 6, and then we just cut it right there and turn this. I'm just going to cut this in half. Actually, we're adding an inch to it, so I'm going to cut it. Math. I got a calculator in my phone, teacher. All right, so we are at 5 3/4 inches. I want to take that out. I know that that a tablespoon on most wrists doesn't go all the way around easy. So I'm going to take off 1/2 inch. So I'm going to mark it. So we're 5 3/4. I'm going to mark it at 2 3/4 and 3 1/4. Since actually, I'm going to flip it over and take out a little bit less. So I'm flipping it over and I'm doing the 2 3/4, and this side is 2 3/4. So we're going to cut that. So we're just measuring here. So I'm taking off pretty much half an inch. Yeah, I'm taking off half an inch. Pro tip, put these in your vise and you don't have to fight with them. They just open and close. So the part that you want, keep on your side. Flipping it over. Okay, so I think my math is okay. We'll find out. We'll find out together. So I'm going to mark these. So right now we need to mark how big of a stem we're going to cut in this. So if I go to 1, that gives me 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. Let's do 1/4 inch. So I'm going to mark up my line 1/4 inch right here. I'm going to mark this one 1/4 inch also. And I'm using my finger to just mark that spot. So both of them now are marked at 1/4 inch. We're going to take and drop this down because right now we're making our pegs. I'm just going to do this because it's a good starting point right there in the center. Same thing with this one. Oops. That should be right. Okay, before we cut this though, we need to know how long, actually, how the center, how large the center of our spring is going to be. Open sesame. Careful with this part. I'm just grabbing the end that doesn't have the fat spring on it. Oh yeah, much larger. It's like days larger. So this is the old one we were making a peg for. We've doubled that. Easy. We actually don't have to take very much off of this at all. Okay. That should be fine. So I'm just trying to, what I just did was I was just looking at the hole and the size of the peg we need to make to go in the hole. So, and we're going to cut this at 1 inch. That was the part I needed to find out earlier. So let's get our 1 inch. So I've got my thumb on the coil I need to get cut. So I'm going to open it up and let it slide onto my side of that coil. Let's just clip this. We'll put that there. Let's check the length again. We're like 1 coil. We're like one coil over an inch. So we're just going to call this good. I know this is steel, and I'm pretty sure it's stainless. Where'd my glasses go? There they are. So I'm going to put this in the vise. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take the points off of this. So if you have your Dremel tool, you can use a diamond blade like this, or a diamond wheel. You can use your file to go across it. You're just going just enough to try and grab that point. We want it to get to the point where it's not sharp. Do. Having to get used to wearing glasses so I can see. Okay. Now we'll get the other side, which shouldn't be too bad, because this was the, well, if you make any more of these, which out of 15 feet, and we're cutting off an inch at a time, you probably only have to buy 1 of those rolls with snake drain snakes. I got my sharp stuff off of there. I'm just gonna take this over it. Okay. No sharp pieces. Now here's the part that I also remember. Sorry. We needed to put a tiny little curve in this. Let's see if I can get you over here. Pretty close. These guys. I'm going to bring up my ring size, and I'm going to be using the shortest, the shallowest one. Keep the big pin. And we want to put just a little bend in this. tiny little bits. I think that might be good. Let's try just a touch more. Okay, so that's the bend I have in it. It's not a whole lot, but we're going to need that bend to keep our pieces coming up. Yep, okay. So let's crazy camera. Okay, so we've got this bent. Now we can go ahead and cut these. You can use a hacksaw. Come on. I'm so glad I have the shop getting close to finished, so I can start building all of my shelves and my cabinets and everything. So what I would do is, if you have a vise, which hopefully you do for this part, I'm putting the marked side towards me, and just try and get a line started. Or actually, you can use your disc to like get that started, or you can use the jeweler saw. So I'm putting my finger, make sure I don't come over too far, and then same thing here. Come on. I'm so gonna break this blade doing this. Let's see, can I get you guys different angle? Normally, I would just use the bandsaw to do this. I thought it felt like it was in the wrong spot. Gonna go down that line. Okay, just that one. That side's done. Same thing on this side. So this part, we're making our pins. The piece that's actually going to go in the spring. Where's the music? Oh, it's on. There we go. We'll get through this real quick. Okay, now I'm going to go from the side. So we're going to make, I'm kind of angling the blade upwards so that we can get kind of a funnel towards that piece there. And this size I'm going to put on the other side of the vise. There we go. Now I can get this side. Nice even pressure. There we go. Got one peg. I'll get the tail in there and we'll get this one. So that was with the jeweler's saw. Now I'm going to take and do this with a hacksaw. So with a hacksaw, you want to make sure that you're way outside your line there, because it's going to hog off quite a bit. Drop this down. So I'm kind of pointed towards the outside so that I don't put down . And same on the other side. So I must have a couple of broken teeth here. Oh yeah, I do. I got a bunch of broken teeth. So I'm not gonna fight with that. We'll just do this with the jeweler saw. Come on. Please start. It's in the wrong side of the vise. That's the problem. Not really. Problem's just me. Okay. There you go. Yeah, the hacksaw leaves so many more marks. Just, it's like brutal. But we're gonna sand all of those out. I'm kind of excited about the size of the inside of this coil. I bought these quite a while ago. I got two of them because they were so cheap. One is none and two is one, right? Bing. Still got my blade. All right. That part is done. so what we have now is two little pegs. So what we're going to do now is first check the hole. So we need this shaped down so it will fit into here. So we're going to start rounding this off. I'm just barely going to take off the corners because we're kind of close. So I'm going to take off the corners and we'll see, and then we'll start rounding around. Rounding around. Okay. All of this is going to be hidden anyway, so you don't have to get it perfectly smooth. Okay, so we just keep going around it. I do have new stuff. Okay, take that corners, sharp edges off the end. We'll try it in here again. Oh, there we go. We're just barely off of there. So we don't want to take any more meat off of here. We just want to get up towards that top. So I'm going to switch this over to my diamond wheel, because I have it, and that's going to allow me to get back. I'm gonna just grind this back edge here. The other thing you can do too is with a smaller file, actually this here would work, you can use the corner to cut in. So you're not going across the whole thing, you're just cutting in a little bit up in that edge. All right, so she's squished all in there. So we got our spring. When we put this together, we want to make sure that we've got that angle. There we go. So we have our, sorry, whoop, this way. We want to have the backside aligned up with the curve. All right. Just got here. What are you using? Where do you get the string? What are, so hi Jeff. The spring is actually a coil. The spring is the coil of a drain auger, drain snake. We took and we cut it out just 1 inch off of this tubing foil, and we put a slight bend in it, And we're going to, here in just a minute, we're going to bend our bracelets so we can start soldering these together. So right now we're rounding off these pegs we made so where it will fit inside the spring. Let's see. Oh, my glasses. So I'm just going to see if I can do it with this real quick. So first, take off the corners. So this is going to be a spring bracelet. It'd be a whale tail. And I don't know if it would be a spring bracelet as much as it would be a coil bracelet. But it acts like a spring, so just keep things easy. Constantly test fit too. Sorry. So and keep working it until you get all the way where it goes up. So quite a ways up, and you can see there. I know that this is the fat part. This is the hacksaw side. Okay, let's go back to our drum. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Round this off. Almost there. Pretty close. Yep. We need a tiny little bit on this side. That should be all of it. Nope, just much more. So close. Flip this around so I get a nice hard edge. Just be real careful about, there we go. Yeah, that, a lot of times it's very easy to get your grinder pulled down, so you're basically making the tip a lot smaller. Let's unzoom me here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the press, and we're going to make this we're going to bend these and hopefully not break them. So you can come back here. If you guys set up here. So we're going to switch this over to the mandrel, and this is the second smallest wheel from the 3D system, and then this is a 1.5 inch coupling, I think. A 1 inch coupling that I've taken and sanded or ground out the center. I just liked the size because it matched the bracelets that I was making before and the pipe. All right, so we want to really carefully get these bent without breaking off our pegs. So I'm gonna put this way in here. So my peg is hanging way out the back. Let's get you guys in here. Okay. So I'm gonna get that way down the back. Make sure that your texturing is facing down. Let's get this slowly bent. Okay, push it down. Try and get some more bend on those fins. And then very carefully bend your pin because we want that nice continuous shape. And if we put the spring in here, we're gonna have this. Sorry. All right, let's get the next one. I'm putting my finger here to hold it from sliding back. And I always like flipping this towards me so that I can see the pin. So I can see the pin here. I'm going to slide it back. And I'm holding the actual piece against this back side. Just nice and slow. Alright, so we got both of our pieces here all bent. Let's get back over here, and we're going to get ready to solder. Okay, so I'm going to get out my fire brick here. It's just a regular fire brick for a fireplace that I cut in half so it would fit on the anvil part. Alright, so this is the part I haven't done in almost 4 years. You are going to want your flux, so I'm using come on. I'm using electrical Harris. So it's electric, it's silver bearing rosin core solder. So this is a stainless piece, or at least it's a ferrous metal anyways. So I'm going to use a different solder, or I'm going to actually add solder instead of just this, because it's almost impossible to solder stainless or ferrous metal to the silver plate. So I have this ruby fluid, and then I also have the liquid flux from Flatware. This stuff was the first one that I found that would actually solder my stainless earring posts to the silver plate. All right. So everything's good there. We've got nice and smooth here. Our points aren't bad. So if you wanted to, at this point right here, I would put it on the buffer. Yeah, I'm gonna do it because I gotta do it. All right, glasses. So I'm using the red rouge here on, it's the white buffer pad from Lowe's. Probably better to do that before we bend it. Makes it a lot more difficult. Okay, so we got that piece, got this piece. I want to get that polishing compound off of there. All right, let's put this thing together. So this did come with a tiny little nipple thing on here, but I'm using a little pipette. Just allowed me to get into the smaller places better. So the way we made these, let's get you over here. Okay. I'm not used to having to wear glasses yet. So here's what we're going for. Want that curve to match up with these. Let me just double check. Yep, the other way. There we go. All right, so we've got everything in there. We've got it all pushed in as far as we can get it. I don't know if we're really gonna need too much here. I can probably just do this. So if you clamp these in here, make sure you don't go up into here. Clamp them way back here where they're still solid. Remember, I did say it's been a while. Just checking out the spring, making sure these are lined up here. I'm gonna put my flux in here. Just want to make sure it's in there. Check on my spring here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my torch and I'm just gonna heat the spot where I want the solder to flow. We want the solder to get down in here and cover up our entire stem, so we get a really good connection and we don't have to worry about it breaking on us. I also have a video of me breaking one of the first ones I made. That was actually pretty cool. That should come up if you type spring bracelet also. So I'm gonna heat this up. And I just watch for the flux to start going. Nope. Didn't want to put that much on there. And the solder is going to want to follow the heat. So if you get a bunch on it, if you heat up that inside, it will pull the solder into it. Oh, I know I forgot something. It's over there. Got my spray bottle. Let's just double check this. Hey, it's hot. Just a hair off. That might be a better way to solder it. I always like the solder to be able to go down, follow gravity. So our spring did turn a little bit. We'll take care of that though. Making sure it's straight again. I'm gonna put just another drop here. And let's try again. Like I said, it's been a while. Learning curves. So I got that one on there. I want to make sure we have enough in there to really hold on to it. Once I spray it, normally I'll take it and dunk it in my bucket of water here. So we are a little bit off. Let's see. Did it stop working? There we go. So we're off a little bit. Let's see if it just stuck first. It's definitely on there. Thought I felt a pop. Worked. So we'll clean this up a little bit here. Put my glasses back on. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and try and just kind of tweak this coil, because we might be able to do it at this step, which would be nice if we could just solder it straight and then make sure everything's square and then put the bend in. That would be a lot easier. So let me get you back over here. Get rid of that. Again, going with the shallow one. And I want to make sure that these are squared. So right now, if you bend this too much, you're going to bend your tips. Okay, so we're straight there. It's definitely got a lot of spring. There we go, that's better. So nice and even. Let's get back over here. This camera is such a pain in the butt some days. See if I can get this thing to work. So this is our whale tail. Get my hands out. I'll make that the screenshot, but let's see. It is definitely, it's definitely on there. Yep. Sweet. I'm excited. This is going to be probably what, size 6. So this is just a little bit smaller than I was wanting it to be. So this was a tablespoon to start with. With it being a tablespoon and we cut 1/2 inch off of it, I would have now left that 1/2 inch and just split it down the middle. So yeah, tablespoon, depending on the size of the wrist. And you can always make sure this, oh, you're welcome, Tim. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, I would make this just a little bit longer for a tablespoon. A lot of times I'll make these whale tails. They'll be made out of a lot of times I'll make these with serving spoons because they're like that much wider, so they really fill up your hand. No sharp edges, so we're not cutting ourselves. Yeah, awesome. I hope that helps. I'm gonna go get something to eat, drink something. We are at 1 hour and 44 minutes right now. You can do this in probably 35 minutes. If you get a couple of them together, you could, I'd say 35 to 40 minutes. Pretty easily you can get one of these done. Yeah, and I think I would solder these straight on and then bend it. So take your, yeah, the spring stays flat. You'll bend these guys, and then once you get them soldered in there, take them over to the press and then get that bend in there. That's gonna make it probably a lot better. Oh, that's another thing. Is that, yeah, the other thing is you have these openings back here, but they're too small to catch and pinch your skin. So that should be good. I'll put this in my little box of things I made. Thanks for joining me. If you've liked this video at all and found it useful for you, please subscribe, share, hit the like button. I always love comments, and I will be doing a lot more of these. So this video I'll probably have someone edit it down for me, and we'll have it as a regular tutorial video, so it's not 2 hours long. So thank you guys. I'm kind of excited to be back on YouTube again and doing something creative. So thank you very much. I will see you guys later, and I hope you guys all have a great day. And